So guys, how are you? What if Naruto was god Harem with Bianca and Percy Jackson movie? We see a heavily injured boy with spiky blonde hair and 3 whisker marks on each cheek. He wears a bright orange jumpsuit with 2 holes in the chest area. This boy is Naruto Uzumaki, and he just lost a fight with a boy he thought of as a brother, Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto was sent with a team of his friends in order to bring Sasuke back to the village, as he had run off in order to gain power from a pale snake-faced pedophile. Naruto fought hard to bring Sasuke back, as he promised his teammate Sakura he would, but that was also why he lost. He fought to bring Sasuke back, while Sasuke fought to kill him. In the end, Sasuke decided not to kill him. Saying some dumb shit like how he didn't want to be like his brother. Naruto didn't think Sasuke realized that he was leaving the village like his brother did, or that he was trying to get the same eyes his brother had. If you ask Naruto, then Sasuke was being exactly like his brother. As Naruto laid there, he couldn't help but feel terrible, and not because of his injuries. He had made a promise to Sakura that he would bring Sasuke back to her, but he couldn't keep it. Naruto was someone that took his promises seriously and never broke them if he could help it. If Naruto was honest with himself, he knew Sasuke wouldn't have come back, and even if he had won their fight, Sasuke would have just left again once he had the chance. Sasuke was just too stuck in his thoughts of vengeance that he wouldn't listen to anything someone else said. Why couldn't he understand that gaining power takes time, and that both Itachi and Orochimaru both got their power from right here in the village? What Naruto didn't know was that he was currently being watched from another dimension by a goddess known as Styx, the goddess of oaths. She didn't like the outcome of this battle, as she really liked how Naruto always kept his promises. She always wondered how a simple mortal could keep his promises without the threat of punishment, when most of the beings in her dimension couldn't keep a promise with a threat. She decided then and there that she would not stand for this and would change things for Naruto. She suddenly appeared next to Naruto's unconscious body with a sad smile on her face. Styx was an average-sized woman standing at 56 with pale skin, short lime green hair, green eyes, a slender frame, and high C-cup breasts. She wore simple robes that were black and green, though she wore no kind of footwear. Even though Naruto's world was ruled by the Shinto gods, she could still enter freely, since all gods fear what she would do if she truly became upset. She crouched down and picked Naruto up bridal style, but as she stood up, someone else entered the clearing. It was a rather tall man with gravity-defying gray hair, wearing the standard Konoha Jonin uniform, with a mask covering the lower half of his face, and his headband covering his left eye. This man is Kakashi Hatake, Jonin of Konoha and Naruto's sensei. "Who are you and what are you doing with Naruto?" demanded Kakashi, but Styx barely paid him any mind. "Who I am is none of your concern, mortal, and as for Naruto, just know that when he returns he will be much stronger," said Styx before she and Naruto disappeared in a flash of light. In Styx's personal area, Styx reappeared in her personal spot in the underworld and quickly began to heal Naruto. Once he was healed, she used her magic to call for 2 goddesses that she wanted to help with her plan. A few moments later, 2 bright flashes of light appeared behind her. The first flash appeared to be a woman wearing dark robes with silver decorations and runes on it, while she held 2 torches. She had pale skin, but her face was beautiful and ageless with green eyes. This woman was the goddess Hecate. The second flash showed another woman with flawless pale skin, long black hair, golden brown eyes, and an amazing body. She wore golden robes and had a golden staff topped with a lotus blossom. This was the goddess Hera, the queen of Olympus. "Why have you called me here, Styx? I'm very busy," demanded Hera. "Do not speak to me in such a way again, Hera, or you will not like the consequences," said Styx in a dead serious voice that actually caused Hera to flinch. "And don't even start with me about you being busy. Hestia has been doing most of the work in taking care of the family domain, while you mope about Zeus being unfaithful to you," said Styx in stern tone. Hera shrank back at Styx's tone and decided to listen. "What is it you need of us, Lady Styx?" asked Hecate. "I need the 2 of you to be mothers to this boy," said Styx as she gestured to Naruto. Both goddesses were surprised by this and looked at the sleeping boy. "If I may ask, why do you need us for this?" asked Hecate. "Place your hands on the boy and I will show you," said Styx. With that, Hera and Hecate placed their hands on Naruto's chest, while Styx placed her hands on top of theirs. Hera and Hecate then saw everything about Naruto's life. They saw how his parents died to protect him and their last words. They saw how his early life was full of loneliness, pain, and sorrow. They saw him make friends. They saw his ups and his downs, and finally they saw his fight with Sasuke and how he felt about losing. By the end, they were in tears at all the hardships that the boy had to go through. They both knew that demigods lived hard lives, but they usually had a short period when they were just normal children. Naruto, on the other hand, was in danger from the very moment he took his first breath. They took their hands from Naruto's body and wiped their eyes. "It'll do it, Styx. It'll take care of Naruto, as if he were my own," said Hecate. "He will be your own after this, as I plan to have your Ichiraku flow through his veins. What do you say, Hera?" asked Styx. "I would like to help him, but I can't," said Hera. "Don't give me that shit, Hera," If you are worried about cheating on Zeus, then your time with him has shrunk in your brain. You are not giving birth to him or having sex with another man, you are simply giving him your Ichir, so that he can become your child. It is in no way at all cheating on Zeus, said Styx. Hera blushed a bit at this as even she had to admit that she should have known that. Very well then Styx, I shall do this, said Hera. Good, but before we start there's some other things I need to prepare, said Styx as she snapped her fingers and 5 lights flashed in front of the 3 goddesses. When the lights cleared it showed 5 demigoddesses standing before the goddesses. The first one was Thyla Grace, the daughter of Zeus. Thalia was a 14-year-old girl standing at 510 with fair skin, electric blue eyes, freckles going across her nose, a slim frame, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore black sneakers, black jeans with the knees cut out. A plain white t-shirt under a black leather jacket and a skull necklace and earrings. Next was Annabeth Chase, the daughter of Athena. Annabeth was 14 standing at 56 with tanned skin, stormy gray eyes, blonde hair and princess curls, C-cup breasts, and a great figure that looked athletic. For clothes she wore white sneakers, blue jeans, short sleeve orange shirt, and a string necklace around her neck with wooden beads on it and a college ring. Next to her is Selena Borgard, daughter of Aphrodite. Selena was 14 standing at 55 with tanned skin, light blue eyes, chocolate brown hair, a great figure, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore some high-top sneakers, blue jeans, and a red short-sleeve shirt. Next to her is Bianca D'Angelo, daughter of Hades. Bianca was 14 standing at 56 with olive skin, black eyes, freckles over her nose, dark hair, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore black sneakers, blue jeans, and a dark green shirt. Finally there was Clarisse LaRue, daughter of Ares. Clarisse was 14 standing at 510 with fair skin, deep brown eyes, long, messy pale brown hair, a strong but still feminine build, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore black boots, black jeans, and a long sleeve red shirt under a brown vest. Greetings young demigoddesses, I am Styx, and I have called you here for something very important, said Styx. The 5 demigoddesses looked at each other before Annabeth walked forward and spoke for all of them. What do you need us for, Lady Styx, and where are we? Asked Annabeth. In reverse order, you are in a world controlled by the Shinto gods, and I have brought you here to help this young man behind us with his task in this world, said Styx. And why should we help that guy? Rudely asked Clarisse. This earned Clarisse a hard look from Styx that caused her to witness her own death over and over again. Needless to say, it shook Clarisse to her core. I'll overlook your rudeness this once, Clarisse LaRue, but understand that next time I will not be so lenient. If you truly wish to know why you should help this boy, then each of you put your hand on him, and I will show you, said Styx. Styx, are you sure that is wise? Asked Hecate as she didn't know what the children's reaction to Naruto's life would be, but she knew it won't be good. Yes, I'm sure, this boy has the fate of his whole world on his shoulders, and in order for these girls to help him, they need to understand his life, said Styx. Thalia, Annabeth, Selena, Bianca, and Clarisse quickly moved to do what Styx said as they did not want to anger her further. Once they did, they saw everything that Hera and Hecate did, and when it was over they each had similar but different reactions. Thalia had tears pouring down her cheeks but looked angry. Annabeth quickly took her hand off of Naruto and held herself while tears trailed down her cheeks. Selena seemed to completely break as she fell to her knees and cried loudly into her hands. Bianca just stared at Naruto's sleeping face in complete horror while silently crying. And Clarisse took her hand off of Naruto and crossed her arms over her chest while fighting to keep the tears building up in her eyes from falling. How does he not just want to destroy everything? Sure Hess made friends, but that doesn't erase all the pain and loneliness, wondered Bianca as what she saw made her want to destroy the people that caused Naruto so much pain. He sort of does. Hess worn a mask of happiness for so long that it has become his face. I don't even believe he knows what his true face looks like anymore, said Styx. That's not good. If he keeps bottling up all of his negative emotions like that, it'll get to be too much for him, and hell become nothing but negative. The boy that just wanted to be loved and protect his friends will turn into a monster that wants nothing but death and destruction, said Annabeth. Then we'll help him with that too, said Thalia. From what we just saw, Naruto simply refuses to acknowledge that he doesn't totally love his village. That old man Hokage spent so much time telling Naruto that the people just need time and to forgive them when they did nothing to gain his forgiveness, that now all Naruto can do is forgive them, said Thalia. So we're all agreed to help him? Asked Selena after she finally pulled herself together. Thalia, Annabeth, Bianca, and Clarisse all nodded in agreement and turned to Styx. What do we do now, Lady Styx? Asked Annabeth. Now we wait for Naruto to wake up and explain to him what is going on, said Styx. An hour later. After an hour, Naruto finally woke up but became on guard when he found himself surrounded by people Hess never met before, especially when he felt the power rolling off the 3 older ones. They quickly calmed him though by letting him know that they weren't there to hurt him, but to help him. They even explained all that had happened and who they were. Naruto didn't believe them at first, but when they told him something about his life they couldn't have possibly known he believed them, though he was a bit mad that they went through his memories and also a bit scared of what they thought about him. Now that they knew about the fox, they reassured him though that they didn't think poorly of him though and still wanted to help him. After that, Styx fully explained her plan to him while Naruto teared up and started to cry at the notion of finally having parents. "You mean it? You're really gonna be my moms?" asked Naruto through his tears. Hera and Hikate quickly kneeled down and hugged him. "Of course, sweetie, we promise you'll never be alone again," said Hera. Naruto hugged Hera and Hikate tightly, as if they would disappear if he let them go. It took a couple of minutes for Naruto to calm down in order for Styx to speak. "Alright you three, if you're ready we can start on making Naruto your son," said Styx. The three walked over to Styx and she looked Naruto in the eye. "Naruto, when I do this it will be very painful, but I promise it won't last. Do you think you can endure this?" Styx said before she asked the question. Naruto nodded before Styx took out a dagger and cut the right palm of Hera and Hikate, then she cut Naruto over his heart and had Hera and Hikate place their cut hands over Naruto's cut. Naruto felt a burning sensation run through his whole body when the Ichiraku of the two goddesses entered his body. While this happened, Naruto's skin tone went from slightly tan to just as pale as Hikate, his hair gained black tips and his eyes gained brown and green specks in them. He also grew taller until he was 59 and his body filled out more with his muscles becoming more defined. After everything was done, Naruto was breathing heavy as that was a great deal of pain to go through when you feel like someone injected fire into your body. "It is done. You are now Naruto Uzumaki, son of the goddesses Hera and Hikate. Now I will leave you for a moment to get to know your new mothers and friends while I go and inform your Hokage that while I am taking you, you will also return once your training is done," said Styx before disappearing in a flash of light. In the Hokage office. Tsunade was not a happy woman right now. She was just given a mission report by Kakashi, and it was not good. Not only did Sasuke escape, but most of the retrieval team was badly injured, and worst of all, Naruto was kidnapped by some strange woman. She wanted to quickly send any ninja she could out to find Naruto, but she couldn't because she was sure the damn council will somehow divert the ninja in order to find Sasuke. Suddenly there was a flash of light in the office, and when it cleared, Styx was standing in front of Tsunade. Tsunade could feel the power coming off of the woman that just appeared in front of her, but that didn't matter to her as the woman matched the description that Kakashi had given her. This was the woman that had stolen her little brother. Tsunade was about to move to attack the woman and find out where Naruto was, but some kind of invisible force forced her to stay seated. "Calm yourself, Tsunade Senju, I am not here to cause trouble," said Styx. "Then tell me right now, where is Naruto?" demanded Tsunade with a growl, not caring how the woman knew her name. "Naruto is in good hands at the moment and is being taken care of properly. If you are worried about his return, then let me calm your fears. Naruto will be returned to you in time," said Styx. "You will return Naruto right now," screamed Tsunade while still struggling against whatever it was that was restraining her. "Why aren't my Anbu moving to attack this woman?" Tsunade asked herself in thought. "I will do no such thing. Naruto needs time to find himself and remember what his face truly looks like. Being here will only hinder him and force the destruction of this world. And if you're wondering why your guards haven't attacked me yet, it's because the same power that is restraining you is also restraining them," said Styx. "Who are you?" asked Tsunade with a sneer. "I'm the goddess Styx and I take Naruto from you now for the good of all. Like I said, he will be returned in time, but I would get my affairs in order before he returns. He will no doubt have questions on why so many secrets were kept from him by the people he trusted," said Styx. Tsunade's eyes widened at this as Styx pretty much just said, "You better have answers because I will tell Naruto everything." Tsunade couldn't let that happen because in her mind Naruto wasn't ready for that. "Please, you can't tell him anything. He's not ready and it will destroy him. Please, if you really are a goddess, then promise me you won't tell him. Please don't destroy my little brother," yelled Tsunade with tears in her eyes. "I will promise no such thing. Too many things have been kept from him as it is, and I will not continue yours and others' work. This information will not destroy him, but open his eyes to things he should have seen long before now. And as for him not being ready, you have no right to decide if he is ready or not. You are not an orphan who grew up surrounded by hate. You are not an orphan who just wanted to know if your parents loved you, and you are not an orphan who doesn't know who you are," said Styx with an edge to her voice before she took a breath to calm down. "Goodbye, Tsunade Senju. I hope that you have good answers for Naruto when he returns, or you may just lose your little brother," said Styx before she disappeared. In Styx's personal area. When Styx reappeared in her area, she found everyone sitting in a circle talking and laughing with Naruto. Styx smiled at this, happy that the boy could finally start to find himself. "Alright Naruto, it's time for you and the others to start training," said Styx as Naruto and the other demigods nodded to her. "It'll be taking you all to a realm that I personally created for training. You six will be there for 3 years, though it will feel like longer," said Styx. So it will be like a time chamber from DBZ, said Clarice with excitement in her voice to train in something from her favorite show. What's DBZ? Asked Naruto. Well, explain later, said all the demigoddesses. Alright, let's be off. Oh, and girls, if you work hard you might get some special gifts along the way, said Styx before they all disappeared in a flash of light. It had been 3 long years since Naruto and the 5 demigoddesses started their training, though to them it felt even longer. Konoha really hadn't changed that much, other than the fact that people got older, and they had finally added Tsunade's face to the monument. Speaking of Tsunade, she hadn't stopped worrying about her little brother since she met that goddess. Sure, to the people of Konoha she looked as calm and collected as usual, but to highly trained ninja and people who really knew her, such as Shizune, they knew she was worried sick about Naruto. It showed just how worried she was when she actually denied having a drink. Hokage Tower. Right now we find Tsunade behind her desk doing the thing she hated most, paperwork. She didn't know why, but she believed it had the power to reproduce like rabbits. An hour later she had only finished half of the paperwork and knew that Shizune would be coming soon with another stack. Tsunade leaned back in her chair and turned to look at the village through her window. With Naruto gone, the village was so quiet, not even Konohamaru doing pranks around the village could bring back that warmth that Naruto brought. Tsunade had long since accepted that Naruto would come back when the goddess decided to bring him back, but she hoped that the Naruto that came back was a Naruto that everyone would recognize, especially with the truths that were revealed to him. Naruto, please come back soon and please, don't hate me, Tsunade said to herself. She had already lost one brother to death, she didn't think she could lose another one to feelings of hate. Outside of Konoha. Walking down a dirt road we see 6 people walking towards Konoha, 1 boy and 5 girls. The boy stood at 62 with light skin, deep sea blue eyes with specks of brown and green in them, shoulder-length spiky blonde hair with black tips, and 3 deeply defined whisker-like marks on each cheek. For clothes he wore black shinobi boots, black cargo pants, a plain orange t-shirt, a black leather jacket with a symbol for the goddess Hera on the right shoulder. The symbol of the goddess Hecate on the left shoulder, and the symbol of Styx on the back, also a black Konoha headband on his head. This boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, son of Hera, Hecate, Kushina Uzumaki, and Minato Namikaze and the champion of Styx. The first girl stood tall at 61 with fair skin, deep brown eyes, long, messy pale brown hair, a strong but feminine build, and D-cup breasts. For clothes she wore a black full-body outfit with black combat boots. The outfit had areas that were a bit revealing since the material over the chest and on the thighs and stomach were a bit transparent, though not enough to show skin. It also had padding along the arms, shoulders, and outer thighs. This girl is Clarice LaRue, daughter of Ares. For a better idea of her outfit look up Scathach from Fate Grand Order, just put a bit of padding for armor purposes. The second girl stood at 57 with tanned skin, long chocolate brown hair, light blue eyes, a very sensual figure, and D-cup breasts. For clothes she wore a light blue bikini top, purple capri pants, a loose-fitting hot pink belt with light pink heart motifs on it, and black-heeled sandals. She also had a pair of light blue metal bracelets on her biceps and 3 simple round metal bracelets on her right wrist. This is Selena Beauregard, daughter of Aphrodite. She's dressed like Kana from Fairy Tale. The third girl stood at 511 with fair skin, electric blue eyes, freckles across her nose, messy black hair, a slim but curvy figure, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wears a long black dress with one long wide sleeve hiding her left arm. The edges of the collar and the opening for the right arm are gold colored, and the upper chest and left sleeve are decorated with golden designs. The right side of the dress is open from the hip down with the gold-colored straps, made up of interwoven ropes connecting the front half to the back half of her thigh. Under the dress she wears black pantyhose, while on the right hip of the dress is a red-colored rhombus gem and gold-colored medal of the same shape, with feathers various shades of blue sticking out from the bottom of it. On her right arm is a long gray glove, which is topped with a gold metal ring with curvy extensions branching off from it up her arm, and on her feet were heeled combat boots. This girl is Thalia Grace, daughter of Zeus. She dressed as Cinderfall from Volume 4 with some color changes. The fourth girl stood at 57 with olive skin, black eyes, freckles on her nose, dark hair, an athletic yet curvy frame, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wore a dark sleeveless mini dress with a white collar and a red tie, a red belt with a red side skirt cover, long black socks, black shoes, black gloves, and red gauntlets. This girl is Bianca D'Angelo, daughter of Hades. Dresses came from Akame ga Kill. The fifth and last girl stood at 58 with tanned skin, stormy gray eyes, curly blonde hair, an athletic but feminine build, wide hips, a round and toned ass, and C-cup breasts. For clothes she wears what appears to be a schoolgirl's uniform. She had brown shoes, knee-high black socks, a short blue plaid skirt, a yellow sweater over a white and blue short-sleeved shirt, and a pink ribbon on her left wrist. This girl is Annabeth Chase, daughter of Athena. She's dressed like Asagi Aiba from Strike the Blood. Now I know what y'all are all thinking, what the fuck are Clarice and Thalia doing wearing outfits like that? Well, the answer is simple. While training with the goddesses and Naruto, the girls learned a lot about Naruto's world and how the female body could be a great weapon against others. Selena was a natural at this due to being a daughter of Aphrodite, so her outfit didn't bother her. Plus it wasn't like she was just going to strip naked for anyone, well maybe for a certain boy. Annabeth saw logic in using everything to your advantage in this world, where almost everyone would kill you for almost any reason, plus it helped that her outfit was a school uniform, she felt right at home in it, then there was the added bonus that the skirt made a certain boy focus on her ass when she walked past him. Bianca didn't like the idea of using her body for anything but understood the reason for it. It helps that her outfit wasn't all that revealing, though she didn't like how it was tied around her breasts and made them more prominent. She did like that her girls could catch a certain boy's attention though. Alia hated her outfit at first, not because it wasn't nice, but because it was a fucking dress and it was originally red and came with high-heeled pumps. She grew used to it though after she dyed it black and changed the pumps to combat boots, plus it covered her very well. I mean the most people could see was her right shoulder and leg, she could live with that. An added bonus was that it showed off her curves to a certain boy and let his imagination run wild with what could be under the dress. Clarice despised her outfit at first, and even now still doesn't like it all that much. She's just about neutral to it. It was skin tight and showed off her body in ways she would never normally show it off. The outfit's saving grace was that it gave her a great range of movement and made a certain boy ogle her when he thought she won't notice. Naruto loved his new clothes since they were a gift from his mothers. He also loved the clothes the girls were wearing. Hence that certain boy in case it wasn't obvious enough, as he felt they fit the girls perfectly and really brought out their beauty. Their choice in clothing was not the only thing that changed during their training, as they all had changed and matured a bit personality-wise as well, though the biggest to change in that aspect was Naruto. After learning about his mortal parents from the goddesses, he tried to bottle up all of his negative emotions and move past it, but they won't let him. They told him to let it all out and to no longer deny what he was feeling. The results of this was rather destructive, as it was the first time in years that his mask had come off. After he had calmed down, he talked it over with the goddesses and demigoddess, and they helped him sort out his feelings. For a while he had trouble with not putting his emotional mask back on, but a couple of whacks to the head and stern talkings too from Hera and Hikate convinced him to stop. Naruto had finally figured out who he was, and he became stronger for it. Naruto and the demigoddesses were trained into the ground, dug up, and trained into the ground again. There were times they wished they never agreed to the training, but those thoughts stopped when they saw the results. The demigoddesses gained chakra and some special abilities during their training, not to mention feeling for Naruto. The feelings caused problems for a while, but the goddesses told them how things would work when they got back to Konoha. They didn't like it, but they did decide to share Naruto 2.5 years into the training, though they still competed for his attention, just not as bad as before. Naruto on the other hand gained magic and some special powers as well. He even got into contact with the Kyuubi and gained something, but that would be revealed later. When Naruto had developed feelings for the demigoddesses, he didn't know what to do. While he understood the laws in his village would allow for one man to have multiple wives if he either had a bloodline or was bringing back an important clan, he also knew that the girls weren't from his world and didn't think they would be as understanding, so he didn't say anything about his feelings. He flirted a bit and ogled them when they weren't looking. They still noticed his attention, but he kept his true feelings to himself. It wasn't until they decided to share him that he told them of his feelings. Anyway, back to right now. It took a while, but the group of 6 finally made it to the village gates. "Wow, I can't believe I'm actually back here. It feels like it's been forever," said Naruto, his voice now deeper than it was before. "Are you sure you can handle this, Naruto-kun?" asked Bianca. The girls had learned Naruto's language as well, though they only used the suffixes with Naruto. "Yeah, Bai-chan, I can handle this, especially with you girls here with me," said Naruto. When they reached the gates, they found that the gate guards were fast asleep. Naruto chuckled at this before signing himself and the girls in and walking into the village. While walking through the village, it was clear that the villagers noticed the girls, or at least the males did. If the drooling was anything to go by, they also noticed Naruto, though it took a while thanks to the changes he went through, but it wasn't as bad as they were expecting. While some people did glare at him, most simply ignored that he was there, and some actually smiled at him. Though the demigoddesses didn't like that there was a lot young girls ogling Naruto. Naruto stopped walking though when he saw his favorite ramen stand. The girls noticed him stop and looked in the same direction that he was. They smiled a little when they noticed the stand. They could recognize it due to the fact that Naruto talked about it so much. "Come on, Naruto, let's go inside and get a bowl before we go see the hag," said Clarice as rude as always. Naruto simply grinned and led them over to the stand. "Welcome to Ichiraku Ramen, it'll be Naruto, is that you?" asked Tucci when he finally noticed Naruto. "It sure is, old man, it's good to be back," said Naruto. Get in here and look who it is," Tucci yelled to the back room. "Who could have you so, Naruto-kun?" AM yelled as she hugged Naruto tightly. He was like her little brother, and she had missed him dearly. The girls on the other hand twitched a bit at the girl hugging their man. Well, Selena wasn't twitching, since she could feel that its sibling love radiating from the girl. "It's good to see you, AM," said Naruto as he hugged her back. "Oh, I'd like both of you to meet some very important people to me. This is Thalia-chan, Annabeth-chan, Selena-chan, Clarice-chan, and Bianca-chan," said Naruto as he pulled back from AM. "Yo," said Thalia. "Nice to meet you," said Annabeth. "Hey," said Selena. "Sup," said Clarice. "Hello," said Bianca. But that the group sat at the counter while AM and Tucci made Ramen and caught up with Naruto. AM was surprised to learn that her little brother was dating 5 girls, but she knew he wasn't a pervert, so she let it go. For now, if he turned into a pervert, she beat some sense into him. At that point Naruto felt a chill run down his spine and felt a need to make sure he treated his girls equally, which he was already doing. Hokage Tower. Tsunade sat in her office talking with Jiraiya, Shizune, her latest student Sakura, and Kakashi about Naruto. Jiraiya felt he failed his godson, Shizune missed him, Sakura just wanted him back so he could keep his promise, and Kakashi wanted to make up for his failure as a teacher. "We have to stop moping, Naruto will be back when he's ready, so until then we just have to wait," said Tsunade. Ironic that they're being told to stop moping by Tsunade of all people. "And how are we sure about that?" asked Jiraiya. "Because she said she'd bring him back," said Tsunade. "And who says she'll keep her word? We're ninja Tsunade, our word doesn't mean anything," said Jiraiya. "You forget Jiraiya-sama, Naruto's word means a lot to him, and he won't break a promise, no matter what obstacle is in his way, plus this is a goddess we're dealing with," said Kakashi. "Please, even Naruto can't keep all of his promises, and we have no proof that woman is what she claims to be," said Jiraiya. "We do need proof, and Naruto did fail to do his last promise," said Sakura. "None of you felt the power that woman radiated from her body, Kakashi, my Anbu, and myself did, and it was unlike anything we've ever felt before," said Tsunade, while trying to ignore the jab at her little brother. "Even I felt it and I wasn't even in the room," said Shizune. She was outside Tsunade's office when Styx showed up, and she felt the power of the goddess wash over her. It was overwhelming. "Many shinobi have been considered gods, Tsunade, our sensei being one of them. That woman could have easily been a powerful but crazy and deluded kunoichi that thinks of herself higher than she actually is. She used that power to trick you into believing her delusions, and now has stolen Naruto with no intent to return him," said Jiraiya. "I don't think Lady Styx would be happy to hear you talking about her like that, pervy sage," said a voice from the door. Everyone in the office went wide-eyed at the voice and quickly turned to the door and saw Naruto and the girls standing there with Naruto having a small smirk on his face. "Naruto!" Everyone screamed at the same time. Before Naruto could say anything in return he was quickly hugged by Shizune. "Naruto, we missed you so much, where were you?" asked Shizune as she hugged him tightly. "I've been getting stronger and it's good to see you, Shizune," said Naruto as he hugged her back. "You're actually back, Naruto, and you've changed, more than just your clothes," said Kakashi. "Yeah, I'm back and y'all get used to the changes," said Naruto with a smirk as he let go of Shizune. "It's good to have you back, Naruto, but where have you been? I tried to reverse summon you, but it won't work," said Jiraiya. "It's good to be back, pervy sage. You couldn't summon me because I was in a different plane of existence parallel to ours, but out of your reach," said Naruto. Naruto then had to dodge a punch from Jiraiya. "What the hell?" said Naruto. "Who are you? The Naruto we know would never say anything that smart," said Jiraiya. Naruto, you dickhead, and if you try to hit me again it'll be the Naruto that punched you in the face," said Naruto. "Naruto, you idiot, how could you just run off like that? You didn't even keep your promise to me," yelled Sakura as she tried to punch Naruto in the face. Tried being the key word because Naruto caught her punch with one hand and didn't even flinch at the force behind it. This shocked everyone in the room that knew Sakura had been training with Tsunade. Though what shocked Sakura the most was the cold eyes that Naruto was showing her. She had seen those eyes from Sasuke plenty of times before, but never from Naruto. She was his precious Sakura-chan, so why was she getting these eyes from him? Plus everyone could have sworn they saw Naruto's pupils turn into slits for a second. "Sakura, my clothes and appearance aren't the only things that's changed, so I would appreciate it if you'd stop hitting me. I'm supposed to be your friend, not your punching bag, and I didn't break any promise to you. I said I would bring Sasuke back, but I never said when I would bring him back," said Naruto. That promise actually tore him up inside as he thought he failed, but Styx pointed it out to him that he never said when he would bring Sasuke back, or that he would even be alive. Naruto let go of the shocked Sakura's fist and turned to Tsunade, who was currently slowly walking towards him. As she walked to him, Naruto saw the conflict, anxiety, and slight traces of hope in her eyes. He knew why she was like this, and he really couldn't blame her. When he found out the truth, he hated everyone for a short while before he calmed down and thought things through. He came to terms with his feelings and moved on. Naruto said Tsunade before Naruto raised his hand and stopped her from speaking. It's alright Granny Tsunade, I still love you like I always have, said Naruto with a small smile. He was then brought into a bone-crushing hug as Tsunade cried tears of joy into his shoulder. Naruto, I'm so sorry, said Tsunade. I told you it's alright Granny, if I'm being honest you made the right choice in not telling me who my parents were. With the way I was back then, I would have just told everyone who I was just so I could possibly get some positive attention. You were just trying to keep me safe, even if it was from myself, said Naruto. Wait, you know who your parents are? Asked Jiraiya and Kakashi. Yeah, Lady Styx told me, said Naruto. Alright, we need to start from the beginning. Let's start with you introducing these lovely ladies you brought here with you, said Jiraiya while eyeing the girls, especially Selena. I'd keep my eyes to myself if I were you pervy sage, they may be beautiful, but unlike Granny, they really will castrate you, said Naruto as he let go of Tsunade, who walked back to her desk with a small smile on her face. That's right though Naruto, you should introduce them, said Tsunade. Very well then, everyone, these are people that are very important to me. They are Thyla-chan, Annabeth-chan, Clarice-chan, Bianca-chan, and Selena-chan. They are demigoddesses, or the daughters of gods, said Naruto. Everyone had their jaw drop at the last bit of information. Just what the hell had Naruto been doing while he was gone? Naruto, I think you really need to explain what's going on, said Tsunade as she was the first one to come out of her shock. It's like I said Granny, the girls are the daughters of gods, just not our gods. As it turns out the gods we know aren't the only ones around, we just don't know about their gods, since their gods and ours don't really get along, mostly because of Thalia-chan's dad, said Naruto. Hey, said Thyla. Tell me I'm wrong, said Naruto with a deadpan. Was Thalia's answer. That's what I thought, said Naruto with a smirk. Naruto, this is all a bit hard to believe, it's like I told Tsunade, there are plenty of shinobi that have been revered as gods, and their parents could be no different than those same shinobi, said Jiraiya. Naruto could only sigh as he looked at Jiraiya. The man could believe a prophecy given by an old blind drugged-up toad, but he couldn't believe that other gods existed. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not pervy sage, I'm telling you facts and facts don't change, just because we don't believe them, said Naruto. And just because you believe in the delusions of some crazy kunoichi doesn't make what you say to her. We live in a world run by Kami, Yami, and the Shinigami with only Amaterasu-sama being above them. You spouting off about non-existent gods will only anger them, said Jiraiya. We have jutsu that can bring back the dead as puppets and summon the Shinigami himself, but you can't believe the existence of gods other than the ones we know of. You need to open your mind pervy sage, said Naruto, while knowing if either of his mothers or Lady Styx heard Jiraiya talking like this, they would be pissed. We'll talk about this later, right now I want to know about your skills, Naruto, said Tsunade. That was a lie, what she really wanted to know about were the girls that seemed to be close to her little brother. Well, I've trained hard and pushed myself to my limits with the girls helping me, but I can't really compare myself to anyone in shinobi standards, as I really don't know how I would compare, said Naruto. Sure, he was trained by 3 goddesses alongside demigoddesses, but he had no clue how he compared against trained and experienced shinobi. Well, in that case we'll have to have you tested to see where you stand skill-wise. Now what about your friends? Asked Tsunade. We would like to become ninja of the village, we'll even take the test alongside Naruto-kun, said Annabeth speaking for the group. Tsunade sat there staring at the group with her fingers laced in front her. To the demigoddesses, it was like Tsunade was trying to find their weakness and then break them down. Very well then, Naruto, I want you to take your friends to Training Ground 7, where you'll be tested by Kakashi, said Tsunade. Sure thing Granny, come on girls let's go, said Naruto as he walked out of the office with the girls following him. Tsunade, you can't be serious about this, said Jiraiya once Naruto and the girls were gone. I am very serious about this Jiraiya, in case you didn't notice Naruto and those girls are very close, and Naruto even said that they were training alongside him. If they're skilled then they'll be a boost to our forces, plus by watching them we can probably get a better idea of how Lady Styx treated them and what she taught them, said Tsunade. I see, you want to see how the girls and Naruto fight and act in order to try and see what influence that Styx woman had on them. Fine, now let's get to the training ground. I actually want to see if Naruto has improved any, said Jiraiya. Training Ground 7. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Sakura arrived at the training ground and found Naruto and the girls stretching and limbering up. Jiraiya was once again entranced by the way Selena's breasts moved as she stretched. Tsunade noticed this and decided to change things up in order to get Jiraiya's mind out of the gutter. Naruto, I've changed my mind. You, the girls, and Sakura will be tested by Jiraiya. Sakura, you'll be tested as well, since I'd like to see the results of your training from an outside perspective. The test is simply, fight until I tell you to stop or your opponent is unable to continue, said Tsunade. Sakura walked over to join the group while wondering how she could work with these new girls, since she knew nothing about them or their style. Why do I have to do it, Tsunade? asked Jiraiya. Because I said so, said Tsunade. But I actually wanted to talk to Naruto before this, so can it wait just a bit longer? Asked Jiraiya. Your talk can wait until after the test, now get over there. Yelled Tsunade. Alright geez, said Jiraiya as he walked over to the group. So you're the pervert that peeks on women and pushed Naruto off a cliff. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this way more than I should. Said Clarice as she cracked her knuckles and was giving Jiraiya a wicked grin. The others simply nodded along. Being a pervert was bad, but being a pervert that threw their boyfriend off a cliff was worse. Jiraiya shivered at their looks as it reminded him of Tsunade when she caught him peeping on her. Alright, the test is about to start, some last minute advice is to come at me with the intent to kill, said Jiraiya. Don't worry, we planned on doing that. Yelled Clarice. Anyway, the test begins, now. Said Jiraiya. As soon as that word left his lips everyone disappeared into the trees around them. A few minutes passed with Jiraiya just standing there while trying to sense them. They're good at hiding, and I can barely sense their chakra, Jiraiya thought to himself. Suddenly 4 Narutos came running out of the forest. Jiraiya prepared to fight, but when they got close instead of attacking they dispelled and blocked his vision with a cloud of smoke. Quickly realizing that it was a distraction he turned just in time to block a punch from the real Naruto. Jiraiya saw the foxy smirk Naruto had on his face and ducked under a sidekick from Clarice. But that began a fierce taijutsu exchange between Jiraiya, Clarice, and Naruto. During the fight, Jiraiya noticed that Clarice and Naruto fought perfectly together. While one was attacking the other was defending, and they covered each other's blind spots and openings, as if it was second nature to them. He also noticed that their attacks carried a lot of power behind them. Now he understood how Naruto was able to block Sakura's punch so easily before. Soon though both Clarice and Naruto were able to land a palm thrust to Jiraiya's chest and push him back a few yards, Jiraiya was about to go back to attacking when he saw Selena and Thalia jump out of the forest. Water style. Water bullet jutsu. Yelled Selena as a large bullet of water shot out of her mouth. Lightning style. False darkness jutsu. Yelled Thalia as 3 spears of lightning shot of her mouth. The 2 jutsus combined together and formed a bullet of electrified water headed straight for Jiraiya. He dodged to the side only to see Sakura coming at him from above with a heel drop. Images of the damage that Tsunade could do with that attack flashed in his head as he instantly knew he didn't want to get hit with that. Heavenly foot of pain. Yelled Sakura, but before she could hit him Jiraiya jumped back and into the air. Now take the shot. Yelled Naruto. Just then 3 arrows came flying out of the forest and straight at Jiraiya. Seeing that he had no other choice, Jiraiya used the substitution jutsu to get away, but as soon as he appeared on the ground, he found Annabeth being thrown at him by Naruto. He had no time to get his guard up and as a result was stuck in the side by Annabeth's vicious right hook and was sent skidding back. No one noticed that her right hand was steel gray. Damn, she doesn't look it, but she is scary strong. I better stop holding back as these kids are proving that they didn't waste time training, Jiraiya thought to himself. Alright, great job everyone, Annabeth-chan, that plan of yours worked like a charm. Praised Naruto with a foxy grin. Sakura simply smiled in return, while other girls blushed a bit at his praise. So all of that was planned. Yes, I see now. Naruto used his clones first to block his sight in order for the real him to go in for an attack, but that was also a distraction, so that Clarice could attack. When that didn't work they both kept Jiraiya on his toes and distracted him, while Thyla and Selena got into position to launch their jutsu, which forced Jiraiya to dodge and pretty much jump into Sakura's attack. When Jiraiya dodged that by going into the air, they had that Bianca girl shoot arrows at him, since he would be unable to dodge while in the air. But then when he used the substitution jutsu to escape they already had Annabeth flying at him for one final attack. That is one incredibly thought out plan. If Annabeth really thought that far ahead her mind must be on par with Inara, Tsunade thought to herself as she watched the match closely. Alright girls, be ready. Now that we've shown Pervy Sage that he can't take us lightly, he'll come at us with a lot more force. Use Lady Styx's gift if you have to, said Naruto as the demigoddesses smirked at him while Sakura looked confused. Flashback. The demigoddesses stood in front of Lady Styx after a hard day of training with her, Hera, and Hecate. The 3 goddesses looked at the demigoddesses in pride at all the hard work they put into training. Sure, they complained sometimes, but they never gave up. It was this hard-working attitude that helped Hera get over her dislike of Thalia. That and having a son like Naruto has softened her heart to others. After all, it wasn't Thalia's fault that her husband had an affair. Alright girls, I have good news for you. After seeing how well you've done in training, and with helping Naruto, I've talked to the Shinto gods and explained the situation to them. They've agreed to give you chakra, as well as one special gift of your choice. Think about this carefully, as there is no changing your mind after the gift has been given, said Styx. And think carefully they did. They had read a great deal about Naruto's world and the powers people had in it. After talking it over amongst themselves for a while, they finally came to a decision. We've made our decisions, Lady Styx, said Annabeth speaking for the group. Flashback end. Jiraiya, hearing the part about using a gift, decided not to see what that woman had given them and quickly charged in for an attack. While going much faster than before, Naruto appeared in front of him though, and they started to trade blows. They were evenly matched in strength, so they started to slowly increase the speed of their attacks until either one of them outpaced the other or one of them made a mistake. In the end, Jiraiya was faster than Naruto and hit him with a right hook to the jaw and a kick to the chest, launching Naruto away. First gate of opening, open. Second gate of rest, open. Yelled Clarice as she rushed in before Jiraiya could react and started to rain punches and kicks on him. This was the special gift that Clarice had asked for, the ability to open all of the 8 inner gates without dying. She couldn't open all of them right now, but she was working on it. Jiraiya did his best to block or dodge her attacks, but the ones he blocked actually rattled his bones to the point it felt like they were going to break. He knew he had to get away from her, or else he risked serious injury, but before he could do that, Clarice landed a hard hit to his chest that sent him flying back. Before Jiraiya could correct himself, Sakura appeared behind him and smashed her fist into his back and sent him forward again. This time though, Annabeth was in front of him with her right arm turning steel gray. Steel style. Decapitation. Yelled Annabeth as her arm hit Jiraiya's neck and decapitated him, though after that his head and body then crumbled away into dirt. An earth clone. Said Annabeth in surprise. Steel style had been the gift that Annabeth had asked for, as she knew she wasn't the strongest demigoddess, but with this she had strength and defense. "I've got you now," yelled Jiraiya as he ran at her from behind with a Rasengan in his hand. Annabeth had no time to move out of the way and was struck in the middle of her back and launched across the field. She rolled across the ground until she finally slammed into Tree, Tsunade, Shizune, Kakashi, Sakura. And Jiraiya all looked a little worried about her until she simply got up and dusted herself off like nothing had happened. But how?" asked Jiraiya in surprise. Annabeth simply turned her back to Jiraiya and lifted her shirt a bit to show that her lower back was steel gray. "It'll take more than that to get through my steel style." "Impervious armor," said Annabeth. She was so glad she had tested her armor with Naruto's Rasengan in order to make it stronger, or else that last attack would have taken her out. "Hey Jiraiya, would you please stand still for me?" asked Selena using her charm speak. Jiraiya didn't know why, but he felt compelled to do as she wanted, so he just smiled and nodded. Selena simply smirked at this as she clapped her hands together, then spread them apart, revealing a large ruby red spear, crystal style. "Ruby rain," yelled Selena as she threw the spear into the air, where it shattered and sharp shards of rubies rained down on Jiraiya. Crystal style was the gift that Selena had asked for, since it was very rare and very versatile, plus she had to admit being able to create priceless gems on a whim was pretty sweet. Seeing the danger he was in, Jiraiya tried to move, but for some reason he couldn't. He quickly remembered Selena asking him to stand still and figured that it was some kind of genjutsu, so he flared his chakra and was able to get away at the last moment. Though as soon as he did, he had to dodge arrows shot at him by Bianca, but he didn't notice that she was leading him to a specific spot, and once he got to that spot he punched in the face by Naruto. The punch caused him to stagger a bit, but he was able to catch Thalia's high kick by her ankle. The problem was that the way he was holding her ankle allowed him to see up her dress. Jiraiya giggled pervertedly at the black lace panties she was wearing. That was not a good idea. Naruto saw this, and while he was pissed at Jiraiya for looking up his girlfriend's dress, he was even more scared at what he knew was coming next. He quickly began to back away so he wouldn't be caught in the crossfire. "You perverted bastard," yelled the demigoddesses as they all released a shit ton of killing intent. "Shadow style. Shadow entrapment," said Bianca as she placed both hands on the ground in shadows, rose up and took hold of Jiraiya's arms and legs. "Alright girls, Hess restrained. Set it up," said Bianca. Shadow style was the gift Bianca had asked for, since she was the daughter of Hades. The shadow style was actually very easy for her to use, thanks to her connection to the shadows. "Steel style. Steel fist destruction," said Annabeth as her right hand became covered in multiple layers of steel with her knuckles growing spikes. "Crystal style. Diamond coating," said Selena as she coated Annabeth's weaponized hand in diamond. "Black storm style. Black lightning coating," said Thalia as she coated Annabeth's hand in black lightning. Black storm style was the gift Thalia asked for, since as a daughter of Zeus, she had natural control of lightning, plus she thought that being able to use black lightning would be badass. "Third gate of life, open," yelled Clarice as her skin started to turn red due to the increase in blood flow. She then quickly grabbed Annabeth, started spinning, and then threw her towards Jiraiya. "It's over for you, pervert, doomsday fist," cried Annabeth as she punched Jiraiya right in the nuts. When her fist made contact there was an explosion, and when the dust cleared, Jiraiya was laying on the ground with face stuck in a silent scream of pain and his eyes completely white, while Annabeth stood over him with a victorious grin on her face. Kakashi looked on in horror at what just happened and quickly put his porn away and covered his crotch. On the inside, he was profusely thanking Kami that Tsunade didn't have him do the test. Sakura and Shizune had neutral expressions on their faces, but on the inside were jumping in joy as they had caught Jiraiya peeping on women in the hot springs many times before. Naruto was off to the side and simply shook his head at Jiraiya. "I warned you they were different from Granny Tsunade," said Naruto. Tsunade on the other hand had a cruel smirk on her face. "Serves you right, you damn pervert. These girls though are quite strong to hold their own against Jiraiya, even if he wasn't going all out is nothing scoff at, plus they have steel style, crystal style, shadow style, storm style, and one of them can open the 8 inner gates. They'll definitely be a boost to the village." Tsunade thought to herself. "Well, since it's clear Pervy Sage can't continue, I think the test is over. What do you of our skills, Granny?" asked Naruto. Currently Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, Shizune, Thalia, Selena, Claris, Bianca, Annabeth, and Tsunade were currently at the Konoha hospital waiting for Jiraiya to be finished with his treatment. The reason Tsunade wasn't the one treating him was because since his injury wasn't life-threatening, she did feel obligated to help him, plus she wasn't too concerned with saving Jiraiya Jr. Kakashi looked over to the 5 demigoddesses that seemed pretty proud of what they had done to Jiraiya. He decided to get to know them. "So you are the girls that have been training with Naruto." "I'm Kakashi Haddock, Naruto's team sensei," said Kakashi introducing himself. "Hey, aren't you that guy that stuck his fingers up Naruto's ass during his genin test?" "You know where we're from, we call people like you a pedophile," said Claris. The rest of the demigoddess looked at Kakashi cautiously and took a step away from him. Behind them Naruto was trying not to laugh as he knew his girls were messing with Kakashi. They made it clear to him that they didn't like that he read porn in public and had favored Sasuke. Kakashi paled when he felt Tsunade's killing intent on him. He paled even further when he saw the look she was giving him. Tsunade was furious as she was never told of this particular event. She would not accept having another Orochimaru in the village, let alone one trying to violate her precious little brother. "Kakashi, is what she said true?" asked Tsunade in a dangerous voice. Now Lady Tsunade, well that event did happen. I assure you it's not what you think," said Kakashi sweating a bit. His answer didn't seem to help as Tsunade's facial expression only got worse. "Sakura, did Kakashi ever touch you inappropriately while he was supposed to be training you?" asked Tsunade. Kakashi was a bit happy that Tsunade decided to ask his female student that question as he had never done anything to her, so she would help him out of this situation. What he didn't know was that Sakura saw this as the perfect way to get back at Kakashi for always reading his porn in front of her and for always being late. Sakura looked down at the ground so that her hair would shadow her eyes and then used her right hand to grab her left arm and started to shake a little bit. It looked like she felt great shame about whatever she was about to say. He said that it was for training, that what he was doing to me would help me grow stronger. He said that, well, I might get sweaty and dirty. It was what all Kunoichi did and I was expected to do it too, said Sakura. At this point if it wasn't for his mask Kakashi's jaw would have hit the ground. He had actually said those things to Sakura, but that was talking about actual training. He wasn't sexually abusing her. She had taken his words and made them sound horrible. Tsunade knew her student was lying, but she was enjoying watching the pervert squirm. The demigoddesses on the other hand didn't know Sakura was lying and were pissed. "Bianca, hold him down," said Thalia. While Annabeth's fist turned steel gray, Kakashi quickly substituted with a log before Bianca could use her shadows to grab him and then ran away so that he wouldn't suffer the same fate as Jiraiya. Naruto, Sakura, and Tsunade couldn't hold back anymore and started laughing after Kakashi ran off. The demigoddesses were confused until Naruto explained that while what happened to him was true, Sakura had just twisted Kakashi's words around and made them sound bad. A few minutes later a nurse came to the group with a report on Jiraiya's condition. "Alright, I have good news and bad news, Tsunade-sama. The good news is that Jiraiya-sama's testicles were completely destroyed, so we had to replace them with prosthetics and recreated his sack with skin from his ass. The bad news is we were able to save the shaft and head of his penis, with the upside being that all the nerves in his penis were fried so he'll be unable to ever get an erection," said the nurse with a smile. She had been one of the many women Jiraiya had peeked on and wasn't ashamed of the fact she was happy this had happened to him. Naruto shook his head at this, as well he had warned Jiraiya that being perverted with his girls would end badly for him. He still felt bad that a fellow man had pretty much lost his manhood. All of the women in the room couldn't stop smiling however, and the demigoddesses looked proud of what they had done. "Can he have visitors?" asked Tsunade. "Yes, but I would suggest only one of you at a time," said the nurse. "Very well, Naruto, go talk with Jiraiya. I'm going to take your friends back to my office to make them official ninjas. I'll tell you my evaluation of your skills when you're done with Jiraiya," said Tsunade. Naruto nodded before going to talk to Jiraiya in his room. When Naruto got there he found Jiraiya sitting up on his bed with a morphine drip hooked up to him to help him deal with the pain. "Hey Pervy Sage, how are you feeling?" asked Naruto though he felt like he already knew the answer. I feel like shit kid, how could you let them do this to me? Asked Jiraiya. Hey, I warned you that they would do something like this if you perved on them, not to mention they don't like that you once threw me off a cliff and like to peek on women, said Naruto. Are you saying I deserve to be punished just because I appreciate women? Asked Jiraiya, completely ignoring the whole being thrown off a cliff part. Naruto noticed this and deadpanned at Jiraiya before shaking his head and becoming serious. Naruto reminded Jiraiya way too much of his father in that moment. We need to have a serious talk, Jiraiya, said Naruto. What do you need to talk about, Naruto? Asked Jiraiya just as serious as Naruto never uses his real name. Why didn't you tell me you were my godfather and why weren't you around? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya's eyes widened at this as there was no way that Styx woman could have known that information unless she had a spy in the village. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes at this, as if that was true, then this woman had planned all of this for a long time. How did you come across this information, Naruto? Asked Jiraiya. My mother's told me, don't avoid the questions, said Naruto. Naruto, you only have one mother and she is dead, said Jiraiya. No, I have three and their names are Kushina, Hera, and Hecate. One died the night I was born, giving her life to save mine, and the other two saved me from losing myself. Now answer my questions, said Naruto, losing his patience with Jiraiya. That Styx woman already has too much information about Naruto and revealed too much to him before he was ready. Now there are two more unknown women with this information. Worse of all, they've got Naruto calling them his mothers, and what does he mean by they saved him from losing himself? Jiraiya thought to himself, Naruto, you need to tell me. Jiraiya was interrupted by Naruto putting his fist through the wall. No, Jiraiya, I'll answer your questions, but you have to answer mine first. Why didn't you tell me and why weren't you there? Asked Naruto. These were questions Naruto really wanted answers to. He knew there were plenty of reasons why Jiraiya never told him and why he wasn't around, but he needed to know the reasons from Jiraiya himself. Jiraiya was shocked at Naruto's display, but sighed and decided to answer his questions. Naruto, you have to understand that I cold just come into your life after 12 years and just say hey, I'm your godfather, sorry I haven't been around, let's train, I wanted to tell you, but just cold find the right time. As for why I wasn't around, I'm Konoha's spy master, Naruto. I was out following leads on threats to Konoha, said Jiraiya, hoping to appease Naruto a bit. The first part I can understand, Jiraiya, but the second part is complete bullshit. You had to have come back into the village at some point, either to give reports or just to assure that your time outside the village hasn't affected your loyalty. At some point you could have visited me and made sure I was okay. You could have talked to me in order to let me know that someone other than the old man cared about me. In fact, if you'd have introduced yourself to me back then, it would have made it easier to tell me that I was your godson, said Naruto. It's not that simple, Naruto. It is well known that I was Minato's sensei, and if I had suddenly taken an interest in a kid it would have caused questions. Sooner or later Minato's enemies would have put 2 and 2 together and got 4. They would send assassins to kill you, said Jiraiya. You are so full of it, Jiraiya. I had assassination attempts on me from people inside the village that only knew I was a Jinchuriki, and I looked just like my father at that time. I was pretty much a smaller carbon copy of my dad, and people still hated me, still wanted me dead, and still ignored me. I've learned to summon toads from you. I went to bring back Granny Tsunade with you. And I learned the Rasengan from you, and yet with all of that plus my looks, no one figured out who I was. You could have been there yet you chose not to, and I want to know why, said Naruto. It was because you look so much like Minato. Yelled Jiraiya before taking a deep breath. Minato was like a son to me, and when he died a piece of me died with him. I was actually planning on continuing to run my spy network, while coming back to check on you every 3 weeks, but then I saw you. You looked so much like Minato even as a baby that it hurt to even look at you for longer than a few seconds. You can't understand the pain I felt at that time. Naruto, Tsunade may have left the village because she lost her lover and her brother, but I felt like I lost my child, and the pain a parent feels at losing a child is unimaginable. I honestly hope you never have to experience that kind of pain, said Jiraiya. You're right, Jiraiya, I don't know that pain and I'm sure I never want to, but you don't understand the pain of growing up with everyone lying to you. You're an orphan like me, but you didn't have people actively keep the identities your parents from you while I did, and the worst part was that it was the people I trusted that kept this secret from me. I didn't know who I was, Jiraiya. I may have talked big, but deep down I really wanted to know who I was and if my parents loved me, said Naruto as he now stood in front of the window looking out at the village. Naruto, what did you mean by losing yourself? Asked Jiraiya. Well, you have finally answered my questions, so I guess I'll answer yours. The Naruto that smiled at everyone no matter what they did to him, that shouted about being Hokage, that was a fucking idiot, that jazzed after a girl that abused him more than anything. And that tried to save a prick that thinks hate and revenge are the secrets to power was just a mask I wore to hide myself from the pain that I was going through. I wore the mask for so long that it was starting to become who I was. My mother stopped that from happening before my mask broke, which you should be happy for," said Naruto. "Why is that, Naruto?" asked Jiraiya, incredibly worried about his godson now. "Because if that had happened I would have probably destroyed everything. That mask was the only thing holding back all of my negative emotions, and if it had broken while I was inside the village or anywhere really, I would have become a monster hell-bent on destroying everything in my path," said Naruto. "Did those women tell you that?" asked Jiraiya. "Yeah, they did. Of everyone in my life they saw through my mask. My mother's, Lady Styx, those 5 girls, and an unlikely friend helped me through my darkest time," said Naruto. "There was a short time where I wanted you, Tsunade, and this whole village to suffer for what I had been through, but my mothers broke me of that. They told me that it was just years of anger and pain finally coming to the surface. Once I calmed down they all started to help me cope and move on. I accepted my negative emotions, but of course I would try to put my mask back on every now and then, but they won't let me, because of my mother's, Lady Styx, and those girls that I've come to love. I am the Naruto that stands before you," said Naruto. Jiraiya was shocked at everything Naruto had just said to him. The worst part was that Naruto was right. He hadn't seen through his mask. He knew that Naruto had most likely had a hard life, but to want everyone he felt had wronged him to suffer was more pain and anger than he thought Naruto carried. Well, he wanted to know who this unlikely friend was. There was another question that was on his mind, and who is the Naruto standing before me? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, Hera and Hikate, champion of Lady Styx, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Genin of Konoha, and the next Hokage. I may be different Jiraiya, but in the end I'm still Naruto, said Naruto. If you're still Naruto then why did you let your girls destroy my nuts? Asked Jiraiya with a scowl. You abandoned me for 12 years, threw me off a cliff, stole money from me, have been ogling one of my girlfriend's breasts, and looked up another of my girlfriend's dress. Trust me, destroyed nuts is the least that could have happened to you. I could have trapped you in illusion, where you are forced to watch saggy old men fuck each other for the rest of your life. Said Naruto with a dark look in his eyes. You're bluffing, you suck at Jinjutsu. Yelled Jiraiya while being really green in the face. A lot has changed over the years Jiraiya, a lot has changed, said Naruto with a foxy grin on his face. Jiraiya swore he saw Naruto's pupils become slits once again before returning to normal. But Tsunade. Tsunade was sitting behind her desk after finishing the paperwork to make the 5 demigoddesses into official ninja. Now though she was deciding their and Naruto's rank, standing on either side of her desk were Shizune and Sakura, both having come to see what would happen to the girls. The demigoddesses were sitting in front of Tsunade's desk waiting for Tsunade to finish and for Naruto to come back and show them around the village a little more. So girls, why don't you introduce yourselves to me again, but this time with the name of your godly parents, that way I have a better idea of what I'm dealing with, said Tsunade. Tsunade did notice that Sakura glanced over at her when she mentioned godly parents. It was clear that Sakura still didn't believe in this whole other gods and the girls being demigoddesses thing. Very well, I'll go first. My name is Annabeth Chase, daughter of Athena the goddess of wisdom and war, said Annabeth. My name's Selena Beauregard, daughter of Aphrodite the goddess of love, said Selena. My name is Clarice LaRue, daughter of Ares the god of war, said Clarice. My name is Bianca D'Angelo, daughter of Hades the king of the underworld, said Bianca. And my name is Thalia Grace, daughter of Zeus the king of the Greek gods and ruler of Olympus, said Thalia. Thank you and it's nice to meet you. Now tell me, what was training like with Naruto? Asked Tsunade. It was interesting to say the least. Well, it started off slow once we got that emotional mask he wore off, things picked up, said Clarice. Emotional mask? Asked Tsunade, Shizune and Sakura at the same time. Yeah, he wore an emotional mask in order to hide his pain and sadness. You didn't know that? Asked Annabeth. I had no idea, said Tsunade while feeling ashamed of herself for not noticing it. Shizune felt the same way. She had experience with watching Tsunade mask her own pain with sake and gambling, so why didn't she notice Naruto masking his pain with a smile? Wait, that can't be right. Naruto has always been so happy, energetic, and hard-headed, it doesn't seem like he would need any type of mask, said Sakura. Being happy, energetic, and hard-headed was his mask. Naruto pretty much made himself look like a happy-go-lucky idiot in order to keep people from seeing just sad and lonely he was, said Annabeth. What's he like without the mask? Asked Shizune. Be not all that different really. I guess you can say Hess more balanced, Hess a bit more serious, though he still knows how to have fun. Hess not an idiot, he thinks things through, rather than rushes in and comes up with plans on the fly, and Hess not as trusting as before, though with that whole planning thing he can still come up with plans on the fly, he just doesn't do it as much, said Selena. I see, well it's good to hear that he hasn't changed too much, said Tsunade. You know, you girls and Naruto seem pretty close, said Sakura. Well, I should hope so, we are his girlfriends after all, said Thalia. Yarway it, yelled Tsunade, Shizune, and Sakura at the top of their lungs. Ow. Please don't yell like that again, and yeah, we're his girlfriends, said Bianca while rubbing her ears along with the others. That pervert, when he gets here I'm gonna punch him so hard, said Sakura before feeling the demigoddesses glaring at her. That's not a pervert, we were the ones that decided to share him since he couldn't choose one of us, said Selena. And you don't get hit him anymore, that our job, said Clarice. But all 5 of you can't date Naruto. He'll have to choose one of you to marry sooner or later, said Sakura. The girls just smirked at Sakura before looking at Tsunade who sighed. That's not completely true, Sakura, thanks to some special circumstances concerning Naruto he will be able to marry all of them if their relationship gets that far, said Tsunade as she narrowed her eyes at the demigoddesses. What circumstances could possibly allow Naruto to marry 5 different girls? Asked Sakura. That is something that Granny Tsunade actually can't talk about, Sakura, said Naruto walking through the door. And why is that? Asked Sakura. Yeah, I'll find out soon enough. Now Granny, I believe you wanted to tell us what you thought of our skills, said Naruto. Naruto, are you a virgin? Asked Tsunade out of nowhere, making everyone in the room turn red. What the hell, Granny, you can't just ask a guy that, yelled Naruto. Answer the question, Naruto, said Tsunade while studying him and the demigoddesses. Oh, I see what's going on. Look, Granny, I completely understand that you have needs, and I've become even more handsome over the years, but you're my boss, it won't be right, plus while I do love you, I only love you like a big sister, even if I call you Granny, said Naruto before being hit in the middle of his forehead by a paperweight thrown by a red-faced Tsunade, causing to fall onto his back. That's not why I asked, now answer the question, yelled Tsunade, ignoring how everyone else was snickering. Ow, fine, yes, I'm still a virgin, said Naruto while getting up and rubbing his head. Not from lack of trying on Selena's and Thalia's part, said Annabeth, making Naruto and said girls blush while Bianca and Clarice laughed at them. Sakura's and Shizune's jaws dropped hearing this, and Tsunade glared at the Selena and Thalia. Wait, it's not my fault, I am the daughter of the goddess of love after all, so of course I'm a bit more affectionate, said Selena. And what's your excuse? Asked Tsunade looking at Thalia. My dad is a well-known horndog that tries to hump anything in a skirt, said Thalia. She shrunk back a bit when Tsunade's glare increased. That did not help your case, Thalia-chan. Anyway, what did you think, Granny? Asked Naruto, changing the subject. Well, your teamwork was spot on, and I can tell that you guys have more up your sleeves than what you showed, so I've decided to make you all chunin, especially you, Naruto. The missions you completed before you disappeared warranted a field promotion anyway, said Tsunade, well on what to do when the council learns that they have 6 new chunin. Naruto was pacing back and forth as Tsunade had just explained that Gaara was kidnapped by members of the Akatsuki, with one being identified as Deidara. If it wasn't for all the training he went through, he would have demanded that he be sent to save Gaara, so while he wasn't reacting rashly he was still pretty anxious. Alright, I've decided on a plan of action. Though even I have to admit that it is very unusual, said Tsunade. What is your idea, Hokage-sama? Asked Sakura. Naruto, I know you literally just got back and just became Chunin, but in putting you in charge of this mission to rescue the Kazekage, you know him better than any of us, and I can practically see the determination to save him in your eyes, said Tsunade. It was then that Naruto became more serious than anyone has seen become before, well except his girlfriends. Thank you, Hokage-sama, said Naruto. Don't thank me just yet, as the mission hasn't started just yet and I can still assign someone else to lead this mission. First I want to hear the plan you have in mind in order to complete this mission with the best results possible, said Tsunade. Naruto closed his eyes and thought hard on a plan. He needed it to be really good so as to prove to Tsunade that he could handle a leadership position and that her faith in him would not be misplaced. It was a full minute before Naruto opened his eyes. From what I know, the Akatsuki travel in pairs, so there was at least 2 of them when Gaara was attacked and captured. With Gaara being the Kazekage has no pushover, so at least one of them was injured in some type of way while fighting him, but how much and if said injury impairs their fighting ability remains to be seen, said Naruto, while pausing here to think a bit more. Tsunade, Shizune, Sakura, and the hidden Anbu were actually a little impressed so far with what he was thinking, but Tsunade wasn't too convinced yet. For this mission I'll be needing myself, Kakashi-sensei, Sakura, Annabeth, Thalia, and Clarice. I'll also need another team entirely, maybe Team Guy if you can spare them, said Naruto. This got Tsunade to raise an eyebrow. Care to explain your decision? Asked Tsunade. I know Gaara the best, so of course I should go. I'm not stupid enough to think that a bunch of Chunins can handle a mission like this, so I'll need Jonins like Kakashi-sensei, Guy-sensei, and I can only guess out of everyone at least Niji has made Jonin by now. It's easy to tell Sakura has been trained by you, so I know she's a great medic. Annabeth is good enough at medical jutsu to assist Sakura if need be and is a brilliant strategist. Thalia and Claris are frontline assault experts, and Guy-sensei, Lee, and Tenten are all very offensive fighters from what I remember. I'm also using information from my own encounter with the Akatsuki to pick these teams, because from what I can understand the pair that is chosen to go after a Jinchuriki have abilities that can counter the abilities of the Jinchuriki and their Bijuu, explained Naruto. Tsunade thought over everything that Naruto said to her while staring him in the eyes. She had to admit that Naruto had made a fine choice in teams, and with sound reasons. Very well, you have your mission Naruto, I'll call for Kakashi, and then you and your team can leave for Suna, said Tsunade. Thank you Hokage-sama, said Naruto. Hey, how come we have to stay behind? Asked Selena with Bianca nodding. I need both of you here to establish the Uzumaki Namikaze clan, answer some questions that I know Hokage-sama has, and maybe see the village a bit more, said Naruto. Selena and Bianca knew what Naruto meant by seeing the village. Lady Styx had warned them about a man named Danzo, and how he would most likely try to get his hands on them. Naruto was basically telling them to stay behind, to make sure that evil man doesn't try anything, since he would most likely see the 6 demigods as weapons, plus they were the perfect team for something like this. Selena could get anyone to do what she wanted and distract anyone, while Bianca's stealth was better than even Naruto's, so she'd get anywhere and spy on anyone. Alright Naruto, well stay behind, you just go and save your friend, said Bianca. Naruto nodded before turning back to Tsunade. Thank you once again Hokage-sama. Sakura, once you have everything you may need, meet me at the front gate. We'll be leaving as soon as the whole team is ready, said Naruto before leaving out of the office with Annabeth, Thalia, and Claris following him. It took 30 minutes before Kakashi and Sakura met with the demigods at the front gate. Tsunade had explained what was going on to him, and he was greatly surprised not only by Tsunade's decision to let a newly appointed Chunin run this mission, but also by the fact that Naruto had come up with such a good plan. Alright, now I'm sure both of you know what the mission is, and just how important it is. We are saving the cage of an ally nation, and we don't know how much time we have to do it. With this in mind, there will be one speed, mine, and if you can't keep up then I hope you can catch up, because I will not be slowing down, unless it is important to the mission. Now let's go. Said Naruto before taking off with everyone following him. As they jumped through the trees, Kakashi and Sakura couldn't help but glance at the girls. It worried them that these girls were coming along on such a dangerous mission, not only because they've only known them for less than a day, but Kakashi wasn't sure they fully understood what they were going up against. In the end, it was Sakura that decided to bring it up now of all times, in order to get a better understanding of the girls in the situation. She jumped up next to Annabeth, since of the 3 girls she looked like the one that would outright attack you if you said the wrong thing. Funny, since that's how she tended to act. Hey, Annabeth, right? Asked Sakura. Yes, that's my name. Is there something I can help you with? Asked Annabeth. I just wanted to know if you are doing alright and are ready for this mission, said Sakura. Annabeth raised an eyebrow at this and was inwardly glad Sakura decided to talk to her about this instead of either Thalia or Claris, as either of those 2 girls would have been offended and thought Sakura was questioning their skills. I'm fine, and I can assure you that I and the others are more than ready for this mission. You need to remember that while you were trained by one of the best ninjas in your village, we were trained by gods, and before you jump to conclusions, I'm not being arrogant, as I'm sure that there are people that can beat us, but when we work together, we are damn near unstoppable, said Annabeth. Damn right, yelled Thalia and Claris as they could hear the conversation. Then why are we here? Asked Sakura. Because Naruto isn't an idiot, he knows that this is just as much of a test of his leadership skills as it is a rescue mission, not to mention the higher-ups will question Naruto's loyalty to the village, said Annabeth. Why would they question Naruto's loyalty? Has always had what's best for everyone in the front of his mind? Asked Sakura. Naruto has been out of the village for years training with someone that has no loyalty to the village. It's understandable that they would be worried about the possible ideals that may have been implanted into his mind, said Annabeth. Look alive everyone, we got someone up ahead. Called out Naruto. As they got closer, Naruto then recognized the 4 spiky ponytails that the person had. Temari. Called out Naruto. Said girl stopped when she heard someone call her name and turned to see Naruto. Naruto, is that you? Asked a surprised Temari with wide eyes. Yes, it's me, and while I would love to catch up with you, I'm afraid we're in a hurry. Please come with us and Kakashi-sensei will explain the situation to you, said Naruto. While a bit confused about what was going on, she still did as she was told and started jumping next to Kakashi. Once she was told the situation, she was understandably worried and was happy Naruto was setting such a fast pace. Though it also confused her that a Chunin was leading this mission, but she wasn't going to complain. Soon they made it to the desert, where Naruto allowed Temari to take the lead since she knew the desert the best. With Temari leading the way, it wasn't long before they made it to Suna. After getting into the village, they went to the hospital, where apparently Kankuro was being treated for poison, though the doctors weren't having much luck. It took a moment, but Naruto managed to convince the doctors to allow Sakura to treat Kankuro, with Annabeth acting as her assistant. Now we find Kakashi, Thalia and Claris waiting in the hallway while Naruto was off examining Kankuro's destroyed puppets, his reason being that he wanted to check if Kankuro managed to get something useful in tracking the people that took Gaara. A few moments later Tamari walked over to them. "Hi, I'm Tamari, we didn't get to introduce ourselves on the way here," said Tamari. "Hey Tamari, I'm Thalia Grace, Chess Claris LaRue, and the one helping Sakura is Annabeth Chase," said Thalia. "It's nice to meet you, are you friends of Naruto's?" asked Tamari. She had been to Konoha a number of times over the years and had never seen the girls there before. "We're his girlfriends," said Claris bluntly. This surprised the hell out of Tamari. She'd admit that Naruto was a lot better looking now that he wasn't wearing so much orange, but she didn't think he'd pull off having 3 girlfriends. "Before you saying anything, there are 5 of us, 2 stayed in the village to take care of some things," said Thalia. "He has 5 girlfriends," yelled Tamari in shock. Tamari then became embarrassed when the doctors and nurses glared at her for yelling. "Yes he does, we decided amongst ourselves to share him since he couldn't pick between us and didn't want to hurt us, plus with him being the last of his clan he would have had to take multiple wives anyway," said Thalia. "Naruto is the last of the clan?" asked Tamari. "Yeah, but I'll let him explain it later as right now we need to focus on saving your brother," said Thalia. "We'll be able to do that once we know that Kankuro will be alright," said Naruto walking up to them. "You found something?" asked Kakashi. "Yes, in the hand of one of Kankuro's puppets, I found a piece of fabric that has a scent on it that doesn't belong to either Kankuro or Gaara. I'll be using the scent to track them when we are done here," said Naruto. "Since when can you track scents?" asked Tamari. "Imaging Chiriki, I've always had enhanced senses," said Naruto. "I'm more surprised you don't want to go after them right now," said Kakashi. "The Akatsuki are dangerous, I don't want to go up against them without a medic on the team, now we just hope the girls don't take too long," said Naruto. Kakashi nodded at this and was impressed with Naruto's thought process. In Konoha, Tsunade sat behind her desk with Shizune standing off to the side, while Selena and Bianca sat in front of her going over the papers Naruto would need to sign in order to establish his clan. "Okage-sama, why does Naruto-kun need to sign these papers if his clan helped build this village and his father was the Hokage?" asked Bianca. Lady Styx had explained a lot about Naruto's clan and just how close it was to Konoha. While the Uzumaki clan was indeed a big part in Konoha's creation, it was never actually established as a Konoha clan. Mito married my grandfather and therefore became a Senju, and Kushina never went through the process of establishing the clan. Also, while Minato was the Hokage, he wasn't Hokage for very long, and he also didn't go through the process of establishing a clan since he was an orphan. Plus being Hokage doesn't automatically make you a clan," said Tsunade. "I see, does that mean that the Uzumaki don't have a seat on the council?" asked Selena. "They do, but it was more of an honorary thing, since no one ever sat in it," said Tsunade. "Kushina could have, but that woman hated politics with a passion so great everyone thought she would destroy the council chambers if she ever even stepped foot in there." Tsunade then sighed as she decided to get some information on these girls' parents. "So how about you two tell me something about your godly parents," said Tsunade. It was clear she was still skeptical about believing that their parents were gods. "Well, my dad has a bad reputation due to being the king of the underworld. He has a bad temper, but that's mostly because he's overworked with all the souls he has to manage and all the paperwork he has to deal with since people die every day. Despite all of this, I know he loves me as he did a lot to protect me and my brother while growing up. And when Lady Styx gave him the chance to help me control my shadow powers he came running," said Bianca. "My mom loves all of her children and gives us all tips to look our best. The problem is that even I have to admit she isn't the best role model. While she loves making people fall in love and spreading love around, she also loves drama and heartbreak. She'll purposely cause couples to have problems for her own entertainment, and breaking a guy's heart is almost like her favorite sport," said Selena with a sigh. She didn't like that side of her mom, but the woman did love her and her siblings. Selena then felt a large amount of killing intent directed at her from both Tsunade and Shizune. "I sure hope that you haven't inherited that trait from her. It would be a shame if I had to kill you for hurting my little brother, simply so you could have some form of sick entertainment," said Tsunade. Selena was sweating at Tsunade's words. "You have nothing to worry about, Hokage-sama. I'm actually sort of the black sheep of my siblings. While they care a great deal about their appearance and tend to shy away from manual labor, I don't mind getting down and dirty with work and only really care about my appearance to a certain degree. I don't get too hung up on how I look unless Naruto is involved," said Selena. Tsunade and Shizune continued to stare at Selena for a full minute without blinking, which freaked Selena out. Before Tsunade hummed and went back to her paperwork, Shizune continued to stare before she had to leave in order to get Tsunade more paperwork, something Tsunade hated. Selena was just happy that her boyfriend's big sister figures weren't staring at her anymore. Thanks for watching.